Here we go. We are in action. This is so exciting. Guys, this is it. The very first episode of Blunt and Bossy. And my guest today is Brittany Anderson. Brittany, I am so excited to have you here. I don't think you know how much you have inspired me to do this podcast. In the last couple months, I've been a huge fan. Brittany is in the health and wellness business, network marketing, and she has an amazing podcast, The Better Hustle with Brittany Anderson. I listen to you so much. My kids know your voice.
That's awesome.
I'm like, wait, hold on. Let me pause, Brittany. And I'm pausing you. You really do deliver some gold. Like it is. Whenever I'm trying to get motivated or, especially with like the depression season, it's tough sometimes. And I just want you to know, I appreciate you so much for being here and being my first guest. So this is Brittany.
Hello, guys. Thank you so much for having me on here and choosing me as your first guest. I know it's always really scary to completely step out of your comfort zone and do something that you have never, ever done before. But I think it's one of the most valuable decisions that we can make as humans. So kind of my take on that is, I'm going to get into my story and just a really quick snippet, because honestly, the story is important, but how I can help you apply it to your story is going to be even more important for everybody who's watching. But for me, getting out of your comfort zone is, if what you are currently doing is not working, you don't have to know what's going to work or how to do it or what the plan is, but you have to be aware that if what you are currently doing isn't working, there has to be a change, and you have to make that decision to make the change happen. And so that's a very big part of my story, actually. So I've been in network marketing for about 4 years now. Been with the same company for 3 of those 4 years. And I had no idea if network marketing was going to work. I didn't really know many people that had been successful in network marketing because I wasn't familiar with it. I wasn't seeking people who were successful. I wasn't doing any of the research or anything like that. But I wasn't for sure if network marketing was going to work. But the one thing that I did know was that what I was currently doing was not working. So something had to change. Something had to shift. I didn't know exactly what that would be. I didn't know if network marketing was going to be the answer, but I was willing to try out different things to see if that was the answer in order to change our family's life. We were living paycheck to paycheck. I like to say, well, I don't like to say, but to kind of sum it all up, I was overwhelmed, underpaid, and strapped for time. Honestly, those were my 3 biggest things. And I'm like, no matter how hard I work in this corporate America 9 to 5, those 3 things are not going to change. I was a very hard worker. Work ethic was not an issue. And I know it's not for Sarah either. Okay. But work ethic was not an issue. But what was an issue was being overwhelmed, because I was rewarded with the work of lazy people because I was working hard in the office. I don't know how many of you guys can relate to that. If you can relate to that, just drop a yes in the comments below. I very much relate to that in every job that I've ever had, basically, until network marketing. And so, like I said, I was just overwhelmed, underpaid, and strapped for time. And I knew that no matter how much I worked, how hard I worked, or how high I ever got in the rankings of corporate America, who knows how long that was going to take, that it wasn't going to get me the results that I was so hungry for. So I was willing to take that leap of faith and figure out along the way the hows. I just knew that I had to mentally commit and just go all in and say, let's see what happens. You know what I mean? And so it was just, I knew what I was doing was not working and it wasn't going to get me to where I wanted to go. And so I knew that I had to be the one that was going to make a change, because Disney fairy tales aside, nobody's coming in to save you and change your life for you. That's your responsibility. And so again, I didn't know the answer or exactly the how, but I knew that something had to change. And it just so happened that I went all in and committed to network marketing. I got outside of my comfort zone. And my hard work was finally being rewarded the way that I thought it would be in corporate America.
So when you say you stepped out of your comfort zone, I mean, network marketing, especially now, it's so heavily in social media. And a lot of people have a hard time just doing this, showing their face on social media. So paint a picture of who you were before you became, the Brittany Anderson you are today. I mean, like I watch your Instagram. I am fangirl big time.
I love it.
Because, it is important that you find people that you have something in common with, that you see that you vibe with, and they have a very similar style to you, and watch what they're doing. And if they're at a place where you want to be, look and see what they're doing. And so I'm really, because what I see of you is a very outgoing, you're all over your social media, and people think I'm all over my social media. You are all over your social media. So paint a picture of who you were before, you stepped out of your comfort zone and started doing these things to reach your success.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, and Sarah and I actually talked about this for a quick second before it ever even started, we're very much just messy action. Because if I try to plan, if I try to schedule, if I try to do all of these things, I like freak myself out. Like, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if I'm 2 minutes late? What if she's 3 minutes early? And then you just kind of get all up in this, like, oh my gosh, it's going to be terrible and we're going to fail and the world's going to explode. And so for me, I was very much messy action. But I had never done anything like this before. I had done direct sales in the past. But when I was doing direct sales, it was all belly to belly, in person, in-home meetings, tons of inventory, all of those types of things. So this was something that was completely different than anything I had ever done before. And when I started, I had 200 friends on Facebook. I didn't have a followers button because there were no followers to have followed. So there was no button even there. And I had never done a Facebook Live ever. Like, why would I, as a regular person, why would I have ever wanted to go on and try to publicly speak to people? Like, that sounds like a nightmare and a half to me. So I was like, there's no way. There's no reason for me to do that. But again, when I decided that we needed a change, that meant that I was willing to do whatever it took. So I didn't know how Facebook Lives would work. I didn't know how they would help. I didn't understand the power of them. And the fact that, like, every Facebook Live, if there's 50 views, you basically just sat 50 people in a room, snagged their attention for 10 minutes, and you spoke the message that you felt called to share with them. Mm-hmm. And so I, every time in my memories, when those first years of that first year really of Facebook Lives pops up, I'm like, how were there even 12 views? This is awful. Every other word is or just or so. And I make this is going to date me, but the Clear Eye commercial guy, like, I made him sound like Jim Carrey. I was so monotone and so boring and so just like dead-faced, petrified, talking. Like, it was not good. But I knew that something had to change, and I was committed to that change, no matter how many times I had to fall on my face, no matter how many people had to say, what are you doing? Who is this girl thinking she can do Facebook Lives? But I had seen somebody before me build success that way, and she had blazed the trails for me, and I'm like, I'm just going to do what she tells me to do. The other people, all the white noise behind me, they don't have the things that I want. They don't have the impact. They don't have the influence. They don't have the financial freedom and the time freedom. They don't have what I want. So I'm not going to listen to the opinions of those people. And I just stayed focused and I stayed committed and I continued to follow her through the minefield of figuring out, how to create more impact and how to influence people into action and just how to, lead other people. But first I had to figure out how to lead myself, and figuring out how to lead myself was you have to be willing to do things that you want other people to do. You as a person, you as a business owner, you set the standard for yourself and your team and also your customers.
Okay. Speaking of
you're trying to sell solar and you don't have solar, like, excuse me, I don't need solar if you don't need solar. It's your business. No, thanks. So you lead the way in everything that you do when it comes to running your own business. And so I was bad until I was okay. And then I was okay until I was good. And then I was good until I was better. And then I just kept doing it. And now it's like second nature. Now it's just like talking.
The uncomfortable became comfortable.
Yeah, it makes you more comfortable that if you're uncomfortable doing something that is going to allow you the opportunity to grow, focus on the repetition. Mm-hmm. Like, if I just do this same thing 90 times, it's going to feel much better after consistently doing 90 reps of it. Your muscle memory is going to get stronger. You're going to get more used to it. You're going to get used to your intro and your outro, and things are just going to become second nature. But in order for things to become second nature, you have to step out of your comfort zone and do it for that first time, and then continue getting in your reps with whatever that thing is, whether it's Facebook Lives or actually public speaking or just messaging people or building relationships. Doesn't matter what it is. Everything starts with one rep.
Well, I had to tell myself with this podcast, like, it's okay. Like, if I get on here and something goes wrong, the world is not going to cave in and I'm going to die. Exactly. It'll just be what it is. And and so that, you know, listening to you and listening to Jessie Lee really helped me understand that, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's a matter of showing up and being present for the people that are wanting to get something from you, to learn something from you, and not stepping out of your comfort zone is not just hurting you, but it's hurting all of those people that are looking to you for guidance and support and motivation and inspiration.
Absolutely.
So, speaking of team, you touched on, you know, leading your team. You currently have a team of 1,300 people under you. That's like super impressive. That says a lot about your leadership skills. And like, what do you like as far as your team goes? How do you like? Obviously, you have your podcast, which I'm sure most of your team listen to, and just, dude, you lay so much good information. I love them so much. But what are some things that you do to help your team step outside of their comfort zone? Or what are some things that you like tell them, guide them to, you know, for those people that are just like, I don't even like, you know, talking to people. I'm so shy. I'm not you. I can't get on a screen and talk to people. Like, how do you help them overcome that? What are some things that you tell them to help them out?
For sure. And I think that's almost everyone's like initial reaction, especially my introverts. They're like, well, I'm not like you. I don't have the energy you have. I'm not this crazy huge personality that you are. I'm like, first off, my personality is big, but it's not Facebook Live big. How I always talk to them is hey, you don't need to be me. Just be you times 2. Just be your authentic self, use your language, use your personality, the way that you talk to people, just do exactly what you're doing. Just be you times 2. But I think a lot more of it comes from that we don't really realize until you've led for a little while, because I know I had no idea how to actually lead people. I'm like, what can I tell them? What strategies can I give them? What hacks can I give them? And what it really came down to that was the most impactful thing was simply leading by example. And I call myself out when I make the mistakes. So if I'm like, well, in case you guys were wondering if I'm perfect, I just knocked over my whole phone, my whole setup during a Facebook Live in case you guys want to watch it and have a laugh. Like, I try to humanize myself as much as possible. Like, hey, that was a little bit wild. It was fun. We had some laughs, but guess what? I'm going to show up and I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And so I think just really humanizing yourself to people and giving them the permission to be their authentic self. I tell a lot of my team, I am too much for a lot of people. Does that mean I'm going to change who I am? No. What that means is those are not my people. So go find your people.
Yes.
Go find the people who don't want all of this in their face to do business with. It's too much for some people. And I'm very well aware of that. You have not been shy about telling me that I'm too much for some people. Okay. I've already my handy dandy little notebook stamped with the Blue's Clues. Okay. I am aware. Thank you, world. But those just aren't my people. And so I try to encourage them that, like, you are called to speak a message to some people that no matter how good other people are, they're not going to hear the message because you were called to deliver that message to your people. So even if I go out there and I say the exact same thing, your people are not going to hear me. Your people need your energy, your passion, your heart, your personality. They need everything about you to deliver the message. They don't need me. They won't hear me the way that they will hear you. And so kind of just giving them that permission, because a lot of people, not that they actually need it. They're like, okay, I'm ready to be myself. But they don't realize that they're waiting on this unspoken permission to embrace all of who they are, that they are worthy of building a business exactly as they are. Of course, we want to grow. Of course, we want to get better. Of course, we, want to change every day to evolve into the next level of ourselves. But at the same time, you're good enough exactly as you are. to lead people and to impact people and to inspire people exactly as you are, whether you're quiet or loud or tall or short or this or that or whatever. And sometimes people have never been given the permission to embrace all of that, all that they are, and feel good about who they are. Whether, the people are, picked on or picked out for all sorts of different things in their life. And people aren't ever really given that permission to just be all of you, embrace exactly who you are and
unapologetically. Yeah. It's like, if you want to wake up tomorrow and be someone different, be someone better than who you are today, and that means doing things differently, and you have to jump on your live the next day and be someone that they don't recognize, that's okay too. Like, if that's what you needed to step out of that person that's holding you back to be someone that they might be like, who is this girl? What is she doing? She's never got on a live and acted this way. This is so unlike her. But it will eventually bring you into the steps of becoming who you want to be. It takes change. It takes, uniqueness, and being okay with, having some people go, what is she doing? Yep. Oh my God, who does she think she is?
For sure.
Know who you are, embrace it. I love it. Okay, so one other question. What made you decide the profession that you're in? Like, I know that you were doing a 9-to-5 for a while, correct? What were you doing before when you were in a 9-to-5?
I was actually working for Walmart corporate office. So I lived like 15 minutes from like Walmart headquarters. And so I was working there in the invoicing office. I actually liked the job. There was nowhere for me to go. There was no like promotion to get. There was no raises to get. There was nowhere to go other than the entry level job that I was in. And I knew that I wanted to be home with my kids, but I'm also very fulfilled by bringing an income into the family. Like, I didn't want to be, the stay-at-home mom. Like, I love women that is like their full lifetime calling. I'm just not that mom. That is just, I am fulfilled by financially providing for my family. And so I'm like, how do I spend more time with my kids while also, financially supporting the family, not even supporting, but just contributing to the family? Like, how in the world did that even happen? And so I just knew, I'm like, I can stay and I can make $14 an hour for the rest of my life, and we'll be fine. And we'll eventually pay off the house. We'll eventually pay off the car. We'll eventually, be debt free somewhere 10, 15, 20 years down the road, because we were good with money. There just wasn't a lot of extra time and money. It was kind of, how much time are we willing to trade for, an entry level pay? And so, kind of taking it back to the beginning, I just knew that something had to change. Again, I didn't know if network marketing was going to be the answer, but I had stumbled across Jessie Lee. Again, we had been connected in direct sales days like 6 years ago, probably like 8 years ago now at this point. Holy moly. And I had stumbled upon her again, and she was doing this whole health and wellness thing. I was 4 months postpartum anyways, and I still looked like I was like 6 months pregnant. So I was like, okay, maybe my body needs a boost to kind of just feel better. It wasn't about like, oh, let me get back to pre-pregnancy weight, but it was about, if I can feel better about myself and have more energy to be present for my kids while also transforming my body and maybe making even just a little bit of extra money. Right. Like, the original goal was $500 a month. Like, that was all I was shooting for. I'm like, let me just make a little bit. And then I was like, oh, this might be a thing. Like,
I love it.
Massive vision, but I was like, this actually works. Like, this is strange. This is weird. I don't really know what's going on, but I kind of feel like this can be big, but I didn't want to get my hopes up, and I didn't want to do all of these things. But then right before my last daughter was born, I had actually quit my 9-to-5 to have the baby and not have to go back in 6 weeks. And so, 4 months postpartum, I was like, okay, do I go back to work now and literally bring home $100 a week after paying for daycare for 2 kids?
Yeah.
Or what do I do? Like, do we just not have any extra income at all? Do we go back to having to budget and clipping coupons and, turning in cans for money and donating plasma? Do we go back to doing all these things? Or do I take this leap of faith and work really, 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 really hard to make $500 extra a month, because that was the first goal. And I'm like, oh, this can be a thing. Like this, if you actually work hard and you're willing to fall on your face over and over and over again. I always tell people, it doesn't get any easier as you get more followers and more team members and more whatever else. All that happens is you fall on your face in front of more people. In front of 10 people, to hundreds, to thousands, to tens of thousands, to like, oh, this is great. We're just going to fall on our face in front of 500,000 people someday. This is great. Like, it doesn't get any easier. You just get better. But I knew that something had to change, and I was willing to test it out. I know a lot of people are like, I'm so scared. I'm so, whatever. But I think if anything, if 2020 has taught us anything, it's that nothing in life is guaranteed. Mm-hmm. People are always going to judge you. People are always going to have something to say. So do you want them to judge you while you're overwhelmed, underpaid, and strapped for time? Or do you want them to judge you while you're changing the world and leaving an impact and living your dream life? Because either way, they're going to judge you on both sides. So which side of the fence makes you happier is really what it comes down to.
Very much so. Okay, well, I think that, wraps us up. Girl, thank you so much. Like, I can't, again, total fangirl that, like, my very first episode, I had the Brittany Anderson on my podcast.
I love it.
You really helped me come out of my comfort zone and do this. You've been an inspiration. Guys, again, if you are not following her podcast, The Better, oh my God, The Better Hustle by Brittany Anderson, please, it is gold. Anything else that you want to say on your way out when we wrap this up?
I don't really think so, other than just, if you are feeling called to make a change, trust your intuition and make the change. Even if you don't know how it's going to work, you're a little bit nervous about it. If you're nervous, maybe you're actually not nervous. Maybe you're just really excited about the opportunity that's in front of you. Take the leap of faith and just choose to go all in with it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, this is Sarah McCray, #the Solar Boss, signing off on Blunt and Bossy. See you guys later. Bye.